This is the end that you're going to see. The other end, I'm going to be cutting it off a bit anyway, but this end, I don't want any marks from the jaws. Now, because I'm going to be kicking up a lot of sawdust here with my compressed air, I've got my room air cleaner going. You can hear it running in the background. It's early Saturday morning, and once again, I don't want to be bothering my neighbors, but I don't think they can hear my room air cleaner. It's not like my noisy dust collector. I'm going to stick on my macro lens, and we're going to zoom in nice and close on the end here, and then you're going to see why it is that I wanted to clean this end off as good as possible. You have probably guessed that that larger hole you're looking at is that 56 thousandths of an inch hole we drilled for the wire. And all those little tiny holes, well, those are the pores in the wood. And my hope is that when I put the pressure on, that the Alumilite, well, it's in liquid state, will get forced down into those little holes. And, well, the idea is that the Alumilite part of it will not break off of the wood part of it when I'm turning in the lathe. If I was to accidentally get a bit of a catch, I can envision that happening. Well, I've pretty well decided how I'm going to do it here, and I'm going to do it much the same as I did with the pepper mill. It worked out not too bad. I'm going to glue this piece of plexiglass onto the bottom here. And now there will be a bit of a problem in that I'm going to have this piece here want to float up to the top. After all, it's going to be sitting in the liquid Alumilite for, about 45 minutes before it starts to solidify, maybe longer. And it will slowly start to rise. However, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to probably take a little piece of wood, like a toothpick or something, and just sort of wedge it in here and then glue it in place. Well, I'll show you. Oh, one more thing. Because the Alumilite is clear, I'm going to be able to see it in a mirror. Okay? So that's what the mirror is for. I'll be able to see what's going on without having to turn this upside down and dump the Alumilite all over. Okay, so I've got this labeling on this side, and what I've done is I've made a little mark. You can see it there. And that way, when I'm trying to do everything, I'll know where this little toothpick thing is going to be. I'll try not to get my hands in the way here. And wedge that in. Okay, so I don't want it real tight. Make a mark here. I should be able to see that. Okay, so now we'll just cut that toothpick off and glue it in place. I'm just using medium here. It's not as centered as I would have liked. but at least it's sealed. Looks good to me. That might be too much, but that's alright. If it's visible, the Alumilite is going to blend right in. There we go. I'll let that set. Now I realized from the comments I was getting that I had not made it clear as to what I was planning to do to keep this from floating to the top. I know I did use the term crazy glue, and I should have said CA glue. I'm just going to put a little bit of CA medium here, and I'm hoping it's not going to run down and spoil things. And like I said, the Alumilite clear should just blend right in with this, and we're not going to see it. I think that's pretty straight. Maybe it could come this way just a little bit. Yeah, I'll just let that set. I think that should stay in place. Now I don't know why I'm bothering to hold this over the garbage can here. Probably going to just all spray back up in my face. I'm hoping some of it gets down to the bottom. Now, one of the viewers suggested, why don't you pour the excess into a mold and then let it build up and have a very interesting pen made out of samples of your past projects. Good idea. Thanks, Jim. Now, do you see all those little bubbles, especially in part A? Well, this is why I want to degas, because they're going to stay there, plus more that I actually get folded in as I'm mixing. I realize that this shot is a little bit long, but I thought some of you might like to see this in real time, so I didn't cut any out. And I know I've said this before, but I'm always amazed at how those bubbles expand. All those little tiny bubbles have expanded probably, well, I know I said thousands of times, but it may not be thousands. Well, yeah, I think it probably is thousands of times. And yeah, they rise to the surface and sort of boil off. And eventually, most of them, not all of them, but probably most of them, get removed. Only the really, really tiny micro ones are probably left. We've jumped ahead about 2 minutes now, and I would say more or less it's as good as it's going to get. Okay, now if you remember, our little toothpick is right there. So I'm going to turn it like this, so that when I push it in, the air bubbles, if there is any airlock that this thing forms on the end, should rise up and come out the top where the toothpick is. I know what I just said doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but just keep it at an angle like this. And I've made myself a push stick here. I have to be very careful now that I don't accidentally knock this off. Oh my, that's going very slowly. But it is going. I'm going to have to put it down, hold it flat, put some more pressure on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's starting to come. This is going very slowly. I'm a bit worried, actually. I'm not too proud here to tell you I was pretty worried there. I was thinking about the guys that had mentioned, why don't you do a dry run first? I really was wishing I had, because this was hydraulicing something fierce, and I just couldn't get it to go down. My push stick was giving out. I had it sitting on my shop stool so I could put more downward pressure on it. I realized I'm going to have something stronger, so I got a long screwdriver out of my toolbox, cleaned it off, and I used that, and I eventually got it all the way down. Yeah, it took probably close to 10 minutes, I think, altogether to get it down. Fortunately, that Alumilite does stay, not viscous, so viscous I can't push it at all. Otherwise, I would have had to have grabbed that little piece of pendant and pulled it out of there and just started all over again. Anyway, well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see how it turns out tomorrow now. I'm hoping when I was fooling around with the big screwdriver in there that I didn't accidentally bend something out of place. Yeah, I'm still not out of the woods yet on this, but we'll find out tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching.